Welcome aboard Skylark Outdoors here, and today we've got something special for you. We are riding the only Funitel lift in all of North America, and you might have seen that other car go by, so you know where this is, but I'm going to tell you what a Funitel is, why it's different, and you're going to get to see the beautiful views of Palisades Tahoe Ski Resort, and that's where this is right now. This is March 2025, and we're riding up the Palisades Tahoe Funitel lift to the Gold Coast ski area, and there's a nice lodge up there at the top. Now, you could ride this up if you want to go skiing, snowboarding, or even snow biking, or if you just want to check out the lodge at the top of the mountain and see some of the views. Now, I'm going to go a little bit into what a Funitel is, and then we're going to go over the Palisades Tahoe ski area. So you've got an interest in skiing, stay tuned till the very end. And if you just want to learn more about Palisades Tahoe or the Funitel, we're going to go through that right now. So the Gold Coast Funitel was built in 1998, and it holds 28 passengers. So it's typically a larger capacity than a typical gondola. Now, what makes a Funitel different than a gondola is that a Funitel, as you can see as it passes right here, is actually held up by two cables instead of one, and I'll tell you what, that makes me feel safer, but there are also other advantages of having the two cables that pull the Funitel forward. One is that it is going to be more wind stable, so if you've got high wind days, that means the Funitel can still run on days that a gondola typically couldn't, because a Funitel won't have as much sway in it from the wind as a gondola would, because you've got the two cables securing the Funitel. So both of those cables will move and pull the Funitel up or down the hill, so you can actually take this all the way up to the top, and then if you wanted to ride it down, you could do that as well, and a lot of people do that at the end of their ski session. Now, the Funitel has a capacity of 4,032 people per hour, and it takes approximately 8 minutes and 30 seconds to go up to the top from the base of Palisades. And then there are other lifts that you can take from this Gold Coast ski area, but it gets you pretty darn close to the top. You're probably within, I would say, 500 to 1,000 feet of the peaks of Tahoe when you take this thing up. Now that we've talked a little bit about the uniqueness of the Funitel, let's talk a little bit about Palisades Ski Resort and some of the things that I liked visiting here. So we're going to go over the stats on Palisades. It's got 6,000 skiable acres, and it actually used to be known as Squaw Valley. Squaw Valley got turned into Palisades and merged with Alpine, which was another ski area directly next to Palisades. So now you've got two ski resorts that are connected via gondola and shuttles and resort facilities. So when you buy a Palisades ticket or an Alpine ticket, you typically will get access to both those ski resorts, which are accessible via a connecting gondola that goes from one side of the mountain to the other, or vice versa, and you can even get off in the middle and ride down from the middle peak between Alpine and Palisades. Now, you've got 6,000 skiable acres between the two resorts. The base is at 6,200 feet, and the peak is at 9,050 feet for Palisades. Your vertical is 2,850 feet, and Palisades gets an average of 400 inches of snow per year, which is just incredible. When I was there in March of 2025, you can see it's relatively fresh snow, and then a day or two later, we got some free refills of probably at least 8 to 10 inches of fresh powder, and let me tell you, it was excellent skiing. Palisades has a little bit of everything. You've got 25% beginner slopes, 45% intermediate, and then 30% advanced. But if you want advanced terrain, there is definitely something that will challenge you at Palisades if you look for it. There is some scary stuff out there, so be careful. But if you are looking for that thrill, you definitely can find it at Palisades. but Palisades is set up really well so that if you're on a beginner trail, you're not going to likely run into that terrain, or an intermediate trail, you're not going to run into that terrain. And I like that. So there's plenty of skiing for whatever your ability level is. If you're an advanced skier, if you're an intermediate skier, or if you're a beginner skier, you will have plenty of skiing. Now, what I will recommend though is if you are a beginner or an intermediate skier, take the Funitel up, even if you don't feel comfortable getting down, because the higher up you go on the mountain, the better the snow conditions will typically be. It's a little bit colder, you're getting more snowfall up at the top of the mountain, and what's nice is with the Funitel, you can take that both ways. So you can go up to where there's a nice beginner area, pretty much all the way at the top of the mountain, that has some really nice snow and is very easy to get to, very accessible and very calm. There's nothing too crazy there, and you can go in that beginner area and learn, or intermediate area and learn, and then you could just take the Funitel down if you were a little bit too tired at the end of the day, or you were intimidated by a long run down. And you can do that with the Funitel. You can see the views are absolutely spectacular from the Funitel as you go up. And this is all Palisades. And as we look over that direction right now, that's kind of looking towards Alpine and down the Palisades Valley to where the base would be. But overall, my experience at Palisades was just phenomenal. Now, Palisades has 29 lifts, and then Alpine has 13 lifts, and Alpine is approximately 2,400 acres. So combined, I believe there's 6,000 total skiable acres between Alpine and Palisades. So Palisades does have a little bit more terrain than Alpine does. But both of these resorts are beautiful, top-notch skiing, and I highly recommend trying both of them out, and you can take that gondola between the two of them. Now, one of the other things that you're going to see in this video, and something that Palisades is known for, is it is a beautiful sunny day to go skiing. Yeah, there's a few clouds in the sky, but for the most part, you can see you're getting some beautiful sunshine, and that's because Palisades Tahoe gets over 300 days of sunshine per year. So maybe you'll get a storm, you'll get some dumping in the morning or in the afternoon, and you might also get some sunshine, because the odds are with 300 days of sunshine, you're going to get sunshine when you are at Palisades. Now, in my experience, the expert terrain or advanced terrain at Palisades is very challenging, so make sure that you take those signs very seriously when you see them here. The intermediate terrain is, I would say, appropriately marked, as well as the beginner terrain is very good beginner and very soft and gentle beginner terrain. And that beginner learning area up at the top of Palisades, at the top of the Funitel lift, is a really great learning area. I love how wide it is and how gentle it is. If you are learning to ski, I would highly recommend doing that, because most resorts will place their beginner learning areas at the base of the mountain, where the snow is worse typically, or it's a little bit mushier. And what happens here is with Palisades, because the beginner area is up at the top, the snow is nicer, crisper, lighter, fluffier, and so that means it's usually going to be a little bit softer when you fall into it, but it's also going to be easier to learn. Learning on a wet or heavier snow, or snow that's melting, is harder, in my opinion, than learning on some nice crisp snow at the top of the mountain that's stayed cold. And that is one of the advantages I see of Palisades. If you're learning to ski, that beginner area is really good, and they've got some really low to the ground beginner lifts. So if you're worried about heights and feeling comfortable with that, you can feel comfortable at those beginner areas to learn how to ski or snowboard. So I really like that about Palisades. But the expert and advanced terrain is no joke. If that is what you are looking for, you can find some serious lines, some serious places to shred, and there are all kinds of bowls that you can get into here if you look for them and spend some time on the mountain. Now, If I was going to Palisades for the first time and I really wanted to learn how to ski it and learn the whole mountain, I think you probably need at least 5 days to kind of see everything that the mountain has to offer between Palisades and Alpine, because it just is that big. There's a lot of stuff that you're going to discover and things that you're going to see, and find different little pockets and stashes and fun runs that you are looking for, and just places to explore and different views and vistas from the top of the mountain, as well as maybe you want to stop somewhere and have lunch or a drink. You can absolutely do that. And then going between the two resorts, that's takes some time once you take the gondola from one side to the other. So you're going to spend some time doing that if you want to explore both of them. But I would say 5 days probably is a good starting point to kind of see all of the resort. But you definitely cannot see it in just a day or even two. That would be a really big challenge just in terms of the time going up and down and skiing. There's no way that you could probably see the entire resort in 2 days, but 5, you could take your time and really enjoy it and find some terrain that you really like. So thank you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed your ride up the Palisades Funitel lift that goes to the Gold Coast ski area. It is the only Funitel in North America and was put in 1998. So thank you for watching Skylark Outdoors. Please subscribe, give us that thumbs up, and we'll see you next time.